A mother has told a court her son made the biggest mistake of his life when he took part in a violent robbery of a South Auckland supermarket. 3 men, aged between 17 and 20, were sentenced in Manukau District Court this morning after they raided the Kingsford Supermarket in Mangere in May using a crowbar and machete. One of the men's mother gave an emotional address to the court, saying her son was a good boy who had made a stupid mistake. Joanna Mackenzie was there.
17-year-old Daniel Seuli and brothers 18-year-old Sam and 20-year-old Longo Teofilo had more than a dozen supporters in court as they were sentenced. Their crime took place on the 16th of May when they raided the supermarket with a 15-year-old accomplice, pushing a shop assistant to the ground, beating him and holding him in a headlock with the machete pressed to his neck. Seuli's mother fought back tears as she spoke to the court, describing her son's terrible mistake.
He made a big mistake of his life. He's really guilty and he's really sorry about what he did. And when I heard the news, it breaks my heart because this is not my son.
She went on to ask the court's forgiveness for the 3.
I'm asking you, please, to forgive my son and also the Teofilo brothers for what they did.
Judge Soana Moala described having to sentence the men to prison as another terrible day at Manukau District Court, but it was something that she saw all too often. She acknowledged the family members in court and that the men came from loving homes.
You are 3 young men who are otherwise of good character. Some of you have anger problems, some of you have some addictions, but by and large you have had good upbringings. Your family have tried to raise you in the right way and teach you right from wrong. You have attended church and you are loved and supported by your family.
At the time of the attack, the victim, Vikas Singh, told Checkpoint that the men put a knife to his throat and asked for money. He said he felt unsafe in New Zealand and his family in India were desperately worried for him. Both the Seuli and Teofilo families had scraped together emotional harm reparations for Mr Singh to try to make amends. That, along with their early pleas, letters of remorse and cooperation with police, was awarded a reduction in sentence from the starting point of 6 years. But Judge Moala said their crime was simply too serious to avoid jail.
The offending is so serious. Your use of weapons, the number of you, 4 of you going into that store and scaring the complainant and committing acts of violence against him.
Judge Moala said the outcome from the attack could have been so much worse.
You had a machete, you had a crowbar, and you used violence against him. And I'm afraid that I am unable to get down to a sentence of 2 years imprisonment for any of you.
She said all the work that the men had done to try to make amends did persuade her to give them sentences lower than 3 years. Daniel Seuli was given 2 years and 6 months. Sam Teofilo was sentenced to 2 years and 9 months, as was his brother Longo, who was also ordered to pay emotional harm reparation to the victim of $1,000. The 15-year-old, who also took part in the raid, has been dealt with by the youth court. For Checkpoint, i Tamaki Makoto, ko Joanna Mackenzie aho.